to be more of a presenter? Hello, ladies and gentlemen.
No, I watched one the other day and I'm like, wow, I need to be a little more exciting. Let's see. You're passing me that. Okay. All right. So, table saw. Has anyone never used a table saw? Yeah. Cool. You won't be able to say that at the end of class. All right. So, this is a saw stop, which means if metal or your fingers or really wet wood were to touch the blade while it's spinning, there's a brake underneath here that'll slam into the blade, breaking both components. So no demonstrations, but you can trust that the worst that you get is one stitch or a paper cut. So you can feel really safe about this, even though there's a blade coming out of the table. Okay, so to set our tool up, and then we'll talk about operation. To set it up, we've got our blade, so we want to adjust the height. So I've got a spinning handle down here that adjusts the height. Yep, you can certainly move around. And then there's another handle down over here that'll adjust the angle. So when I spin the handle up, then we've got the ability to expose the blade. I'm going to take the piece that I'm cutting and place it up against the blade so I know an appropriate height. That's a little high. I like to reference the little valleys between the blades for an appropriate height. Doesn't have to be very specific. Okay, so we've adjusted the height. The next thing we want to adjust is the fence. So what is our size of wood that we want to cut? It's measuring between the edge of the blade. You don't need to factor in the thickness of the blade. It's already saying from the edge of this blade to the edge of this fence, what is the measurement? So we've got a nice big tape measure right here and a little magnifying glass with a red line here. What we're doing is we're taking our 2x4 and turning it into a square. So it's actually not 2x4, it's 1.5 by 3.5. And so in order to create two squares, we already have our 1.5. So we're gonna cut 1.5 over here, 1.5 over here, and then you've got a little bit of scrap that we don't need. We can put in the firewood pile. So you're gonna do 2 cuts on this board. So I know they did used to be 2x4. Inflation, things like that, like I guess it brought it down. Yeah, they did used to be 2x4. So I would making small adjustments, kind of hitting the side here, looking for 1.5, and then can lock it down in place. So I unlock by lifting the handle, slide it over, and then look for 1.5, and then lock it in place here. Another way to check it is you can bring your 1.5 piece this way, and then you know that it's going to be the same this way. So we've adjusted the height, we've adjusted the fence. In order to get set up for operation, safety glass is on. So I've got 3 words: on, as well as the sawdust collector. So on, off, and near. So on, this piece of wood is off of the red zone here. So it's away from the blade, allowing the blade to turn on and not be touching wood or anything like that. So your tool is off, your piece of wood is off, and near is your push stick. And this is gonna help you with the final cut instead of getting your hands too close to the blade. So on, off, and near. Now this does have, and it's also good, like I mentioned, to double check your wood. There's a staple over here, but it's going to be not in the, well, yeah, we should throw it. If you guys wouldn't mind on that wall back there, some pliers or, we'll take it out. We've got a few different options, anything will work. Yeah, cool. Because some of these staples can be a lot longer than you would expect. Thank you. Okay, get that out of there. Cool. Okay, so on, off, near, and then operation. So there's a paddle, red paddle down here, and you pull it towards you to turn the machine on, and then you push it to turn it off. And what's nice is with a nice short piece of wood, you can also stand really close to it. So it's down here. To go on, you sort of pull this way, off that way. The reason it didn't turn on is because it just needs a second to reset. Okay, so on, off, near. On, off, near. Now we're ready to go. So what I'm gonna do for operation, I'll turn the tool on. I'm gonna bring the piece of wood over to the fence so it's nice and flush. With my left hand, I wanna turn this into a part of the table. So my knuckles down or my fingers down, and all that's moving is my thumb. And that's because I don't want my hand to be moving towards the blade. Instead, I like to have my knuckles down and just my thumb is moving. What do I mean by that? So I'm pushing it up against the fence. Let's say this is the fence. And my thumb is the one that's just moving it along so that when I go to grab my push stick, I have something holding the wood. So back onto this side, up against the fence. I'm nice and close to the tool. Again, I'm not leaning over like this, nice and close. Hip can even touch the table. The other thing, instead of standing behind it, if there's ever any tension between the blade and the fence, it's going to travel this direction, right? The blade is pushing the wood this way, you're pushing it against it. And during normal operation, if you were to let go, it might travel slowly this way, but only if there's ever tension for some reason is it going to go shooting this way. So you always stand to the side just to be careful. All right, so again, operation, I turn it on, up against the fence, my hand goes down, my thumb is just guiding it forward, and now I'm cutting, now I'm in the blade. Now you see the blade coming through the wood. At this point, my push stick is right here. I'm gonna grab my push stick to finish the cut. The tiny little knob at the bottom is what's gonna go behind your piece of wood, and this tall, flat part, long, flat part is gonna go on top. All right, so my left hand's holding the wood, grab it with my right hand, holding at the top. You don't have to be down here, you don't have to be down here, just gently at the top. Again, no white knuckling, you're just gently pushing it. Okay, so from here, we're pushing it, and then right about here, it's actually gonna be cut. You're gonna have two different pieces, but like I said, we start off the red zone, we finish off the red zone, so we'll keep going with that cut all the way until we're done. All right, so one more time, I'm gonna actually cut it this time. So we turn it on. We take our piece, we push it up against the fence, my knuckles down, my thumb is guiding it. I'm pushing, pushing, pushing. I can see the blade coming through the wood. This is a great time to grab the push stick. Once the push stick goes, I can grab the side of the table. Nice and gentle, no need to force it. And then right here it's cut. Finish, and then take the tip of my push stick and you can push it away. And then you can trim off like that. So everybody will come on over, and I'm happy to hang out here and watch you and help you through that. So you will have two pieces, and you're going to be doing two cuts on each one. Again, if you're not doing anything right now, you can also be standing. And then I do actually want to do another quick demo, so you guys have one other thing to do, and that's going to be this router table.